Axolotl are often referred to as Mexican walking fish, but they are actually amphibians that prefer to live their entire lives underwater. These remarkable creatures can regenerate almost every part of their bodies if necessary, including their spines, internal organs, and even some parts of their brains. They have a very unique appearance and are extremely popular as exotic pets, but they can also be found in captivity at zoos, laboratories, and breeding facilities. There are almost none of these creatures left in the wild. The Mexican axolotl is one of the most unique exotic pets you can get legally. So, is the axolotl difficult to look after? It certainly looks like it is, but the axolotl is actually a very beginner-friendly reptile. Let us understand about them. Number 1. Are axolotl good and well-behaved pets? Axolotl are surprisingly great pets, not just visually but in terms of their temperament as well. Mild-mannered and calm, these aquatic reptiles love to swim around for fun, hide and play around their tanks, plants and decoration, as well as come and observe you through the glass as you're watching them. Most of their skeletal structure is made out of cartilage rather than bone. That's how fragile axolotl are. So, handling axolotl is generally ill-advised and should be avoided. If you have to move your axolotl from or into its tank, it's best to use a fine mesh net. This will make the move smooth, easy, and safe, especially as long as the mesh is fine enough so that the axolotl's limbs can't get caught up in it. Number 2. So, is it okay to have more than one axolotl in the same tank? When we say that axolotl aren't social, that doesn't mean that you can't look after more than one in the same tank. In fact, it's common for people to have two of these reptiles in an aquarium. However, there are a few things to consider when housing more than one axolotl, aside from the size of the aquarium, which we'll touch on below. Crucially, you should note that axolotl can actually be cannibalistic toward other salamanders and fellow axolotl. This is especially common if one of the two axolotl is bigger than the other. So, if you want to house two in the same aquarium, it's best if they are both of the same age and size. Going with females is also generally recommended. Number 3. Axolotl have amazing regenerative capabilities. Many reptiles and lizards are known for being able to detach their tails when attacked and then regenerate a new tail later on. Axolotl can do the same and so much more. These adorable Mexican salamanders are even able to regenerate other limbs and even body parts such as their heart and eye tissue. Of course, this doesn't mean that you should bother them too much or get them in situations that would lead to limb damage. The fact that they are able to regenerate a tail or a foot doesn't mean that it's healthy. Number 4. A good aquarium is the first thing you'll need to get for your future axolotl. You should get and set up the tank before you've gotten your pet or even before you've ordered it delivered. While easy to look after, axolotl do have some pretty specific environment requirements. This means that everything should be set up perfectly before your axolotl enters your home. In the wild, these reptiles eat snails, small fish, amphibians, and crustaceans. So you can go with tubifex worms, earthworms, strips of meat, commercial fish pellets, and frozen fish foods. Make sure to drop the food near the reptile or at a regularly used corner of the aquarium. If your axolotl isn't interested in the food, remove it to keep the aquarium clean and try again later. So, how big should the axolotl's aquarium be? For a single axolotl, a 10-gallon tank approximate 40 liters is an acceptable minimum. However, we'd still recommend something larger if you want your pet to be happy and comfortable. 20 gallons approximate 80 liters or more are strongly recommended, especially considering that axolotl leave their excrements in the water they swim in. An adult axolotl can grow up to 12 inches or 30 centimeters and can weigh as much as 10 ounces or 300 grams. So, if you can go above 20 gallons, that'd be great for your pet. Lastly, as for the contents of the aquarium, it can be completely full of water as axolotl are purely aquatic and don't ever need to go out on dry land. That doesn't mean that axolotl don't sometimes try to leave the water, however, so a mesh should be securely placed over the tank. This will prevent the reptile from jumping out. Last but not least, the tank's interior. This can be kept relatively simple and as per your personal liking. The bottom of the tank shouldn't be just glass, of course, but a layer of standard aquarium sand can be more than sufficient. Although, some axolotl owners recommend using larger gravel, larger than the reptile's head, to prevent the axolotl from accidentally ingesting it. Set up the right lighting, temperature, and water quality. Axolotl don't like bright lights. Give your axolotl plenty of places to hide in shade. That's the decoration we talked about above. plants, rocks, and other places the axolotl can hide in. Please check your local laws before buying them as a pet. Thank you for watching. Please support us by liking, subscribing and sharing our video.